Welcome, welcome, welcome to the SubHub podcast. I'm Dani Moreno.
And I'm EmKay Sullivan. And today we are going to do a little bit of a Golden Trail episode. We've got Sierre Zinal recap, as that just happened last week. It feels like it can't be August already, but that just happened. And then following weekend, which will be this coming weekend, Tatra SkyMarathon in Poland is going off. So this is the 6th race of the Golden Trail World Series so far. After this, there will be two more, both in the US. And man, it just feels like so many races have happened, but we've had such a big break prior to Sierre Zinal that like I almost forgot that the Golden Trail was happening.
It wasn't even a long break. It was like
I know.
a month. I know, but it's crazy because with that earlier start in Asia with Kobe, Japan, and then Four Sisters, China, squeaking in those two extra races already puts you at what have normally been the amount of races that are in the series. Yet they still have the two American races after Poland as well. So for those folks that are in the series, like keep an eye on those rankings. If you aren't already subscribed to the SubHub headline, subscribe because we update the rankings there every month. But I have a feeling these are still going to be moving around with, Tatra and then the two US races.
Yeah, especially because it seems like there's a small handful of people that are still trying to do like every single race,
Yeah.
even though you only need four. But like we were noticing, especially with the Sierre Zinal Poland weekend, that there are a lot more people that are kind of playing this more tactically. And especially on the women's side, the rankings move drastically after every single race. Like El Huzin's been at the top of the Golden Trail like pretty much since Zagama, but the women's side, there's a new head lady every single week.
Yeah, no, definitely. But with Sierre Zinal, we'll start with a reaction to there. How dare we bet against Kilian Jornet? Who does that?
Who does that?
Not us. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what took over our podcast a couple weeks ago, but it was not us, you guys.
I woke up that morning and Tommy was like on Instagram and he was just like, guess who won Sierre Zinal? And I was like, probably not Patrick like I wanted. And he was like, Kilian won. I freaking told you so. And I was like, okay.
Never again. Never again. I mean,
just barely.
Barely. I mean, what a damn race. Like both the men's and the women's side were very exciting, but nothing ever quite beats a nail-biting sprint to the finish all the way to the end. And both runners just absolutely gassed. And that is what we got in the men's race, folks. Like this men's race is historic. It is now the A standard of when kind of like when Western States times keep improving each year at the top 10. Sierre Zinal is like more or less the same. Like if you hit a certain time, more times than not, you'll hit within like 2 places up, 2 places down. Not this year. This men's 10th place finish, 2:35:21, more years than not would have gotten you like top 5, if not on the podium. It's crazy how fast these gentlemen ran. And for example, 4th place Josephat, which we'll highlight in a second, his 2:31 would have won nearly every other year outside of the course record years. Insane.
So crazy. Can we talk about the mascot for a second? Because
You're
I'm a
just
little
jumping to
hot
the end.
about it.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to talk about the mascot
Yeah.
because Philemon, man, like it seemed like he came out of nowhere from 5th place, passed Kilian at some point. Kilian passes him back, and he barely beats Philemon, with the mascot seeming to come in at just the right time. Am I a conspiracy theorist?
I know. It's kind of like the women's Olympic marathon finish. Like if there wasn't that tussle, would have the other runner would have won? We don't know.
We don't know.
But we kind of know. But yeah, it got me a bit hot too, because I'm like, this is literally probably the craziest sprint finish, because it's not only a sprint finish for the sake of first and second, which we love, but for a potential new course record.
And they pay
And
good money for that course record.
they pay good money for that course record. And yeah, the mascot just being there in the finish line shoot. I'm sorry, Sierra's now like, for
Get
the
them
sake
out.
of the athletes, like, get them out. Like, just wait.
Especially in that moment.
Just wait. Like, the finish line shoot is actually quite small too for Sierra
Yeah.
Zinal.
Like
Yeah.
Joyline had enough of a lead and they knew that, like that,
Yeah,
sure,
that's fine.
mascot goes
Fine.
in with her. But
Sure.
if
Yeah.
we have a sprint finish happening, get that guy out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was, yeah. And even for like media photo sake too, like how sick would that have been, like being in the finish line shoot and getting a shot of Philemon
Right there.
trying to sprint down Kilian, you know, like, but instead you have like this giant ram sheep thing like jumping in the air. I don't know. That's just like the sports person in me. I'm like, get it out.
I just like imagine like Philemon like tackling the guy, like, get out of my
Yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah, exactly.
He's way too nice for that though.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
man.
but yeah, what a race. Kilian Jornet beats his course record by 1 second. Philemon 2 seconds behind. As EmKay mentioned, the dude, like when you're rewatching the live stream, wasn't even really in the conversation. Like you could see him a little bit here on the first climb, but once they get up to the top, it's actually Yosafat who we did preview in our preview episode that ended up taking out pretty hot. Like against Kilian, he after the climb was leading the race for a bit, and then you could see Patrick Chepngeno and Remy Bonnet kind of like fighting it out too, like for what one can assume is like third place, maybe already at that point. But as we know, Sierre Zinal, if you hit a wall, you are going to get caught.
You're gonna
And
get caught so
you're going to
bad.
get caught. And it's not by one or two people, it's usually by 5, 10, 15, 20 people because the race is just that freaking close. And, you know, props to Yosafat for his first time being at Sierre Zinal and just taking it to this incredible world-class field. He did fade back, but only to fourth place. Again, the dude ran 2:31:35. Kilian emerged in the front and he was leading all the way up through Hotel Weisshorn. Apparently, maybe he got some cramps. Like every year, it's really hot at Sierre Zinal and it's extremely exposed, very humid. And so I imagine that had to do part of it. And then Philemon on Bogo, winner from last year, just starts emerging and just hammering this second half.
Yeah, and supposedly past Kilian at least once. I feel like if you've run the race like 10 times and it's hot every year. I keep hearing people be like, "Oh my God, it was so hot this year." But when I ran it, I remember thinking like, "This is the hottest I've ever been." But Philemon was ready for it. He was ready to take on that second half because he won it last year. He knows the course. He knows where to make those moves. And it just maybe he waited like a mile too long to make that move because in the end, Kilian came back and just barely nipped him at the line.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, Killian is GOAT. And like him throwing down on that downhill, you could tell he just was trying to shake Philemon. And Philemon brought it to him. Like he actually kept with him on the downhill, which, you know, I would say 9 out of 10 men are getting dropped by Kilian at that point. Maybe
Or at
eight
least
out of 10 men.
intimidated.
Or at least intimidated, being like, oh shoot, like he's starting to kick it into gear on this downhill.
Yeah.
But I think it also played into Philemon's favor. It wasn't like a technical downhill. Obviously, that would have been a different conversation because Killian's just master at that. But yeah, seeing that sprint finish was crazy. Patrick ended up rounding out the podium, still an incredibly strong finish, 2:26:59. So all the top three men within a little over a minute and a half from each other and all under 2:27, which again, like those are just insane times. And then there's a little bit of a gap, roughly 5 minutes then to the next, basically the rest of the field. So the podium was kind of in a league of their own when all was said and done.
But then these people are all incredibly close
Uh,
together as well. I mean,
well,
just
that's what I'm
like,
saying. Like it was
yeah, the
like 5 minutes, and
density.
then it was just like dense as heck.
Yeah.
Like
Yosafat in fourth in 2:31. Roberto De Lorenzi 2:32. Paul Machoka 2:32. Sylvan Couchard, 232. Jonathan Castillo Sands from Colombia, 232.
They have the
Rem
same time.
yeah, like they're all within like 10 seconds of each other here. And then Remy Bonnet, 233 in ninth place, Ezekiel Rudo, 235. So yeah, that like fourth through eighth place there was 50 seconds apart.
Yeah. And like we said, like any other year, the fourth, fifth, sixth place man probably would have been first, second, third. But yeah, 231 to 233. So fourth through ninth place were roughly 2.5 minutes. That's wild. I mean, I was telling EmKay, like, if I was at this finish line, I would have been losing my mind watching all of these men just fly in. And there's actually a good video clip. I think Roberto posted it on his Instagram that it's like him starting to just smash the downhill. And Remy commented saying like something like Remy stuck in, I forget what he says, but basically Remy looks like he's standing still, but Remy's still running freaking fast on the downhill.
Yeah. And it should be noted that we have second place, third place, fourth place, sixth place, and 10th place are all Kenyan athletes. I mean, we knew that this was like happening, but the Kenyan athletes are taking trail running by storm, and it's really cool to see this happening. So I also love to see a Colombian athlete in eighth place.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible international top 10. And if you go even deeper into the results, you'll see a lot of the folks that we previewed in the episode as well. And they're right there knocking on the door. Americans, Italians, other Swissmen, Frenchmen. And I believe that this Sylvain Couchard, his French time, we've mentioned this, I think, in last year's Sierre Zinal recap and preview that like France has like a France record at Sierre Zinal. I think Switzerland also has a Switzerland record, just something that they like hold cool prestige to, similar in track and field when you have, an historic, say 1500 and multiple people break their area records or the Olympic record is like, do you know what I'm trying to say? It's
Yeah,
like really cool to have that as well. And
we
so
should
this
start tracking the American record.
we should, yeah. We'll just take that upon ourselves.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty easy. You just look at the
yeah,
results. So yeah, that is a new France record, which is really cool.
I love it. Let's move to the women's race because this race was way less dynamic, like still super great. Some names in here that like some of them we definitely thought would be in the top five, but others a surprise to me. But like it seems from beginning to end, it was Joyline, Scout, Monica, Faleris. Um, Joyce was in there for a little bit, but she's like the only person that seems to have fallen off of the pack. And then it was Anna and Sophia that were switching back and forth. Like 1 through 5 were almost the same the entire race, which I feel like that just doesn't happen, especially in a race like Sierre Zinal, where some people are really good at climbing and other people are really good at the running part. It seems like all of these women were just really good at the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, truly, I guess I don't know if I expected carnage or not, or sit and kick, but it's hard to say too, because sometimes with the live streams, you don't get that like back of the top 10 too, like what kind of action was going there. Like it'd be curious to know if Oraya Liassi from Switzerland, Julia Leylong from France, Caitlin Fielder, like if they moved up later in the race. Um, but yeah, incredible field. Jolene, I saw her name on the free trail after we had already recorded our preview, and I was like, damn, I bet she's a heavy hitter. So sorry about not previewing her.
But also,
And
this is her first trail race. So,
this
like,
is a
that would have
virtual.
been fully speculative.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we'd have to look up her results and stuff. And it seems like she had a little bit of a personal journey that they are highlighting too, that she had lost quite amount of weight too. And then she like started running. So that was kind of like a cool thing that they were highlighting about her personal journey. And yeah, she kind of just like ran away with it, to be honest. 2:54:06, incredible time to just be like out there running from the front. She is also Kenyan. Second, Scout Adkin, who we did preview. We both were super stoked that she showed up. Believe this is her first Sierre Zinal. She mainly is like a heavy hitter on the WMRA series. Had a great showing at the European Off-Road Champs this earlier this summer or late this spring. And she's done a lot of like the World Championship stuff. But yeah, she just like went for it.
She showed up big time. Like
Yeah.
I knew that Scout would do well. I figured she'd be in the top 10, probably top 5, but I would not have put her on my podium initially. But she's an incredible climber, so I don't know why, like that shouldn't be a surprise to us. That all the races that she's crushing on the WMRA are like these really long sustained climbs. So she's been practicing basically all year for this. And then Madalena Floria, we talked about this in our preview episode, but she went out super hot at last year's Sierre Zinal, but it was kind of like it wasn't her first trail race, but she was still very new to the space. And she died pretty hard. I don't remember exactly where she ended up finishing. She was still in the top 10, but it was closer to like 8th, I believe. But she went out in 3rd and pretty much stayed there all day. So it's cool to see her on the podium after having kind of like a rougher year last year.
Yeah, definitely. And great to see Phalaris kind of like up there as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is her first golden trail of the series or of the season, I believe.
she might have been in China. I'd have to
Yeah, I'd have to check
check
that.
that. Um, and then Christina Simeon, new name for us, 307.51. Anna Gibson was our top US finisher in a very strong 308.39. As EmKay was mentioning, it seems like her and Sophia maybe went back and forth a couple of times. But really cool to see 2 US runners in the top 10. So Sophia was 7th in 309. 8th was Oraya Liassi, a Swiss woman, 310.46. 9th, Julie Lalong, France, 312. And then Caitlin Fielder, top 10 at her debut, 312.54. I thought that was really cool to see.
Me too.
Yeah, she crushed it. It was interesting to me that like was it the nature of the men's field? Like, did they just go out that much hotter and kept their foot on the pedal? Because their times were more historic, whereas like this women's top 10, they crushed it, but like also historically, maybe like the top 2 are under 3 hours. Um, but or was it just like the nature of the heat too? Like we're out there longer, like as women,
Yeah.
roughly 30 minutes. So you're just like suffering in that heat. But nonetheless, like incredible performances to all these women. And something I did want to highlight, it's kind of more of a bummer, is it seems like Sophia Lockley might be cutting her season off after this race. Um, kudos to her for listening to her body. I hope she knows that like a 7th place finish at Sierre Zinal is still incredible, and
Incredible.
4th at Mont Blanc, like that is an insane season still. And so yeah, I hope she's just like taking time. I'm guessing with like maybe ski season and this year it's kind of like her sophomore year, maybe she is a little bit more tired than she'd want to feel.
Yeah. And something to note just like about this women's race, it was slower and it's way less dense in terms of like how close the times are. But the way that this race is set up is it's very like kind of like the start is really weird. It narrows out quickly, takes a hard right turn, kind of opens up on the road for a second, but then you narrow back into this like double track for quite a bit before it opens up. And the amount of men that can get in between you and the woman in front of you and like the difference that that makes on your climb, like all of a sudden there's 10 dudes between first and second and you're kind of lost. So it's really easy to get like mixed up in just like the amount of other athletes that are out on the course, whereas like the men obviously don't have to deal with that. And so I think that's part of probably why this was a little bit of a slower year, is none of them were that close together ever. They were all spread out the whole time. And it's likely that that happened in that first like 3 miles when it's really dense. Whereas like the men have so much space to like see each other.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And like if the front men, all of the men ran faster, at least like in the top 20, it's hard to say going down from that. But when you are a top woman, you're amongst, at least in this race, I think you're closer to like the 40th or 50th place men. It could be that much more dense. But Yeah, like we said, it was just something we noticed right away, just knowing the times here historically. But again, like freaking top 10 is here now is freaking baller. So
Yeah.
congrats to all of these women. So yeah, those are our reactions. Don't ever listen to us if we bet against Kilian again. Again, but not us. That was somebody else. And we didn't bet against him. We just wanted to spice
No,
things up.
I just really thought that this was Patrick's year.
Yeah. And my prediction actually is still on. We
I
have a
know.
different women's winner.
That's crazy.
Crazy. I wonder if it's gonna get messed up this week. Dang. I've been on a roll though. 5 races. All different winners. Maud, um, Joyce,
Joyce, yeah.
then Sylvia, then Judith, and then Joyline.
I don't,
Crazy.
I mean, Joylene's obviously like she knocked this out of the park. She won by like 6 or 7 minutes, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. There are some people that didn't run Sierre Zinal. So
Yeah.
there could be some fresh athletes on this women's field that could, you know, throw a little wrench in the system.
Yep. And before we get into this Tatra Sky race, here is a message from talking about one of our partnerships. Hey, Subhub listeners, Dani here with some very exciting news. We've partnered with Poseidon Bicycles in Southern California. Their bikes are locally designed, tested, and come with a lifetime warranty, as well as free shipping in the 48 states. Poseidon operates consumer direct, ensuring top quality at affordable prices. Check out their amazing deals and rave reviews online. Personally, I love the versatile drop bar redwood. It's perfect for road and gravel, and with impeccable matte green style, I love riding this bike wherever I want to go. As a special offer, Subhub listeners get $150 off. Use Subhub at PoseidonBike.com and get $150 off any and all of your purchases. Now back to the episode.
So before we get into talking about the athletes that are going to be in this race, we actually asked Anna Gibson, who was our top American finisher at Sierre Zinal, to give us just like a little course rundown because we have never been to Poland. So we have no idea what this course is going to look like. So please just enjoy Anna's rundown of this course real quick, and then we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Anna Gibson. I am recording this from Zakopane, Poland. I'm over here about to race the Tatra SkyMarathon. It's a 27K race that takes place on August 17th, and it is about 5,600 feet of climbing. It starts out with a pretty mellow climb in a little valley out of town, and then there's about a 500-foot climb before a descent. Another super flat portion, pretty easy running through there. I didn't check out the upper portion of the course today because it was a bit long for my training run, but it has a mountain, and I think it's just a bunch of rocky steps until you get to a ridge top, and then I think there's some pretty cool views from up there. I think it sounds like there's a pretty technical descent back down into the valley. The rocks will probably be pretty slippery if they're wet, which it sounds like we might have some weather. Hoping for a nice day, but either way it'll be a fun time. And then once you get back down to the valley, the last 6, 7, 8K is completely on a road, and it's like quite flat downhill, maybe slightly, but it's going to be super, super fast. So yeah, looking forward to a great race, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. Thanks, Anna, our field respondent. I don't
Field
know why I call
correspondent.
little because she's definitely taller than me. But thank you for the insider info. It's so nice, especially because we don't know anything about this course. It's a new year. And then as far as just some like hard stats from our end, it looks like this is South Poland. It's pretty much on the border of Poland and Slovakia. It is in the Tatra Sky National Park. So that's pretty cool that they allow them to race in the national parks. On Strava, again, give or take, because it depends on if you're going into all trails or whatnot. It says it's 18.7 miles, so we'll just round it up to 19, and 5,500 feet of climbing. At least for me on my Strava, it estimates it will take me 4.5 hours. to race it?
Mine estimates 3 hours and 52 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
But honestly, like 5,500 feet over 19 miles, like I feel like this is gonna be ripping fast.
Yeah, because how much is Broken Arrow? That's pretty much.
Broken Arrow is 14 and a half miles with like 4,500 feet of gain. So this is
Okay.
less steep than that.
Yeah, so just add like an hour,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
less even.
Yeah. But it does. Do you want to go over the elevation really quick? Like out.
Yeah, for sure. So we start at 3,000 feet, a little less. There's like a slight climb through 4 miles that gets you only 700 extra feet, a little bit of a steep descent, and then around just under mile 5, you're back down to 3,000 feet, and you climb up to like 1,300 feet up in the next 4 miles. So within the first 8 miles, you've only gained like 2,200 of the feet that you're going to gain for the day. And then it's this massive climb from mile 8, you're at 4,264 feet. Mile 11 and a half, you're at 7,000 feet. So quite a big difference there between the first 8 miles and the next 4. And then you just have a bomber descent. Honestly, it looks pretty heinous to me in some places. I'm seeing negative 38.5 grade, negative 36, negative 49. Like we're all over the place. Looks steep. Have fun out there, you guys. And then at mile 15, it flattens out again. Not really flattens out. You're still running downhill, but just barely, like a 2% grade into the finish at around mile 19.
It's kind of wild because this race has multiple distances as well. And I think what's kind of confusing is it says on the website Tatra SkyMarathon 28K. But when you look at last year's results and you click on Tatra Sky Marathon, it's an actual
An actual
marathon.
marathon, yeah.
So I don't know why, or if that's just like the English translation or something.
I'm looking at this Strava segment for the downhill of this course, and it is 3 miles with almost it's 3,300 feet of loss. So you're just like running down a VK for funsies. Oh, you're on mute.
It's wild too, because once you like start the actual climbing, you do have 4 miles with 3,400 feet of climbing.
Yeah.
Like that's actually quite beefy.
So we've
I don't
got
know.
a runnable 8 miles, a VK up, a VK down, a runnable 2 miles.
Yeah, like if I was running it, I would for sure just like chill. Not chill, but I would be waiting for the
Fast
climb.
but relaxed.
Fast but relaxed. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, even saying this one from Marcella, her distance is 24 miles and it took her 5 hours. Maybe we're wrong. I mean, we often, just kidding.
We're never wrong.
We're
Oh,
okay, this homie looks like he ran most of the course. Okay. It looks like, and this is ran on July 30th. This is roughly 16 miles, so maybe he's missing 2 miles, but it looks very similar to the course that we have. Let me just pull this up one more time. Oh, he's just missing this last part. He ran it more or less, and it took him under 3 hours.
yeah, and that I imagine was probably not an all-out effort.
Yeah, it probably. So it looks like he's missing kind of the last portions. And then, yeah, even Bart's race on Strava is 26. So, okay. I think they made a new course.
Yeah,
That's like the only logical answer now.
because I'm sure that like Greg definitely did not want a marathon distance the weekend after Sierre Zinal.
Yeah, that's totally what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. This is making more sense now. All right. So, is it going to take that long?
I think like the men's times are probably like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Okay. This guy ran also similar. It looks like they're like taking off this last section, all of them that ran it on August 4th, and it took him under 3 hours. And
Yeah.
he's missing a couple of miles. Okay. Men will be under 3 hours. All right. Sorry, folks. It just got a little confusing because I was like, why are the results so much longer? Will it actually take me what it's projecting?
Yeah.
And I'm just like not reading the profile right. And it's just technical the whole way. But as we heard in Anna's preview as well, she says the last 8K sounds like it's fairly runnable, like
Yeah.
fast. Okay, cool. Well, that is the course. Did we describe it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Anna describes it.
Anna describes it. That's right. Thank you, Anna.
This was hard for us. Sorry.
Sorry. But before we dive into these athletes that are lining up for the Tatra SkyMarathon, which is not what the SkyMarathon was previously, this is the Golden Trail World Series version of the SkyMarathon. Here's a message talking about one of our partners. Hey fam, Dani here. Just a reminder that this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Never Second. Never Second is an easy to understand modular system that allows you to create the exact amount of carbs that you want for your activity. Their products are meant to mix and match, which personally I love taking advantage of. So you can ensure that you're getting 30, 60, 90, or even 120 grams of carbs per hour. I have been using Never Second during my buildup for OCC, and it is all I will be using on race day. Like I mentioned, it's meant to be mixed and match, and I've been taking full advantage of that. I love the C30 fruit punch gel along with the Berry Plus, so that means it has caffeine. I also alternate this with a mix of 3 scoops of the C30 citrus, which is their powder, or the C90 orange. So as you can see, I love mixing all of the flavors. I love that the sodium is very easy to understand. For the C30, 1 scoop, it's 200 milligrams of sodium. The C90, it's also 200 milligrams of sodium. So if you're interested in trying Never Second, I'm a huge fan. Like I said, it's all I will be using for OCC. Be sure to use SubHub25 for 25% off of all of your orders. Again, that's SubHub25 for a 25% discount off all your orders at neversecond.com. That's NEBER2.com. Now back to the episode.
All right, let's talk Poland. Tatra SkyMarathon, a new race on the series. I am pretty excited to see like just how this race goes and what it looks like. And I hope that they keep it for a second year, because that's like the thing that we run into with the Golden Trail is they have like 3 or 4 races that are always there, but then they tend to switch up the other ones. But I do like the idea of having another double weekend like in Europe. So I'm just curious to see how this one goes, because sometimes like with Norway, I remember they threw that one in and it was so technical that I think everybody was like, we don't want to go back to that. But it looks like Poland is maybe not on that level of technicality.
Yeah. Maybe a short portion of it. This race is happening August 17th. And like EmKay say, it is new. Honestly, that started happening after 2021. I think they started switching them more because some of the athletes do this series every single year and they're like, hey, can we switch it up a little bit?
Yeah.
But yeah, the top, it's kind of like Golden Trail's predicted-ish top 10 athletes who have usually participated in the Golden Trail World Series before. On rare occasion, they'll introduce a new athlete that hasn't been on Golden Trail but has done extremely well in some other series. But as of right now, on the women's side, some of the top contenders are no other than recent Sierre Zinal champion Joyline Chepngeno. We have 3rd place at Sierre Zinal, Madalina Floria from Monica Madalina Floria from Romania. 4th place finisher Valeris Kasang. 5th place finisher Christina Simeon. 6th place finisher Anna Gibson. So we're only missing 2nd place from Sierre Zinal. This is one of the huge benefits from doing these double hitter weekends. And then we are introducing 3 other women who weren't at Sierre Zinal, or at least they weren't in the top 10. Malin Osa, who got a incredible second at Sagama. How can we not forget that?
And 5th place at China, right?
5th place at China and 5th place at Kobe. Yeah, we'll dive a little bit more into her details after we cover these last couple women. Miao Yao, who of recent was 3rd place at Mont Blanc Marathon. She was supposed to be at Sierre Zinal, but couldn't attend there, I think due to like a visa or like passport thing going on. But she has confirmed she's going to be in Poland. She also was 3rd at OCC. And then last but not least, we have Marta Martinez. She was 3rd at Sagama, 7th at Kobe, and then our very own Bailey Kowalczyk. Rough day at Sierre Zinal, but historically she has done well on kind of like these shorty, punchy technical races.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see Miao Yao at this race because she is one of the people that I like wasn't able to run Sierra Zinal last week, and she would have done great because she crushed this race last year. But it probably suits her for the fact that she gets to race these women again this year. And we'll talk a little bit more about the course here in a second, but like the beginning is going to be very, very fast. And Miao Yao is very, very fast. Like she's run 2:28 in the marathon. There's a reason that she did so well at Sierre Zinal last year, OCC this year, Mont Blanc Marathon, or OCC last year and Mont Blanc Marathon. I think that she's going to be really dangerous for this race, just coming in fresh.
Yeah, I think she's going to be really dangerous too, especially if it seems like she was always planning to do Sierre Zinal Poland OCC. So yeah, she's just freaking fast and she's fearless. So I could see her definitely adding to the front of the race very quickly, like taking the race out more aggressively. And it'll be interesting because Joyline, coming off of just her experience at Sierre Zinal and that being her first trail race, I could see her going with Miao Yao or vice versa. And then things potentially going to change depending on like how the climbing is going for both of them after mile 11. Yeah. What other, I guess we didn't preview the course.
We could,
Or
so a couple other people just based off of Anna's rundown of the course that I think we should really be looking out for. This course is maybe going to be kind of more like a Zagama where you're going to have 2 totally different podiums if it's rainy and if it's dry. If it's rainy, Malinosa and Marta Martinez. 2nd at Zagama, 2nd for Malin, 3rd for Marta. If it's slippery and wet, like this is right up their alley.
yeah, definitely. I think it's just about not giving those front women too much space because Sagama is, a 5-hour race roughly, whereas this one, it is
My guess
almost
is it'll
19
be
miles
around
with,
3 hours.
I'm going to guess it's around 3 hours too.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of sneaky. You start at 3,000 feet, but you do top out at 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
Like there is a little bit of altitude. But if you get a big enough gap and survive the first portion of the technical downhill and just try and get to that runnable stuff, then maybe you'll survive. But as we saw with Norway last year, that was in Norway, right? With Sophia.
Oh, that was 2 years ago, but that Norway,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago with Sophia, her debut at Golden Trail, she took it out. She destroyed the climb and she ended up winning, which was awesome. But freaking
Emily Forsberg almost caught her on her time on the downhill was so much faster than Sophia's. But Sophia had put in and Elise, yeah.
Yeah, and Elise Poncet, who's a French runner, they scooped up everyone else but Sophia on the downhill. So like EmKay said, if it's slippery, I would put my money on the Zagama girls handedly because they know how to do this technical terrain. And then
our Sierre Zinal athletes will do well if they can get out early. We have that the first 7 miles is so runnable that if you're fast if you can just go out, stay out, and then just like survive this, let's see, 39, basically 4,000 feet all the way up to 7,000 feet. This 3,000-foot climb over 4 miles, you've got it. You just got to survive the downhill.
Yeah. But that's another thing is like they did just race at higher altitude. They're coming down, but they just raced hard
Yeah.
at high altitude in the heat. Like, I don't think it's the altitude that would potentially make them fatigued. It was running in 90 Fahrenheit for almost 3 hours, or basically 3 hours.
Yeah. And this is almost the opposite of Sierre Zinal in the sense that the beginning is runnable and then you climb. So if your climbing legs are tired at all and you run yourself into a hole that be in the beginning flat part, like it's going to be a rough day.
Yeah, I just pulled up the weather too. 85% chance of rain.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, it's so hard. It'll be interesting. I mean, just knowing that alone, my brain naturally, like removing my heart and emotion from it, shifts right to Meow, Malin, and Marta Martinez.
Yeah.
Like, because Meow knows how to run in wet terrain too. But
And she's
Monica,
fresh.
yeah, Monica got second at Mont Blanc and beat Meow when it was raining.
Yep. And she did really well at the Golden Trail Series final last year, which we heard was pretty technical.
Yeah, a
So,
unique kind of technical,
yeah,
but
for her, it'll just be like, is she tired from running Sears and all? Which she will be tired, but how tired?
yeah, no, definitely. The other thing though, as well with Jolene is like Patrick showed us, like, I don't know what they're doing over there in Kenya, but they do know they're running on technical terrain somehow.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's gonna be wild. It looks like maybe Christina Simeon, she doesn't have a lot of results, has run on some technical terrain as well. She did win the World Championships in 2019. I was at this World Championships and it was technical in a lot of it. So yeah, super interesting. All right, before we move to the men, I don't know if I can call a podium. I would just say if it's wet, Malin, Osa, Martinez, Miao Yao, Eileen that way. Maybe even throw Madalena Floria in there. If it's dry, I'm shifting to the heavy hitters. Even though they're coming off of Sierre Zinal, this pace is going to feel, I think, a little bit slower to them, and that's going to feel nice. It is cooler, but it does look like there's rain on the forecast.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go for it. We're going to have a new women's champion.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about Meow. Yeah, honestly.
I am too. Oh, another name to add into this that we keep
Oh,
forgetting is
yeah.
Lauren Gregory is going
Oh
to
my
be making
gosh.
her Golden Trail debut. Also somebody who's super fast. So if it's dry and like the top of the mountain is relatively chill, like you got Joyline, Monica, Madalena, Faleras, Christina Simeon, Anna Gibson, and Lauren Gregory and Meow Yao that are all like super fasties that are gonna take this out hot.
Yeah, it's kind of tripping me out because Ali Ostrander might also. Oh, Lauren
Oh,
is listed.
I think Ali Ostrander was at the camp that they went to see the final race. So I wonder if she's probably also going to be in Poland.
Yeah, she's listed on the fantasy free trail as of right now, so I would guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting because this is the first year, probably since 2021, because 2020 was its own unique thing, that an American hasn't been like in the top 10 rankings.
Yeah.
At least on both sides. There's not a man or a woman in the top 10 rankings. And there really hasn't been all year.
Yeah. I think that Anna Gibson will be in the top 10 after this week.
But she only
If I
has
had to
two
guess. She only
races.
has 2 races.
So
But
even if
with a third
someone has
race,
gone,
like she's in the top 10.
no, this will be her second race.
Oh, I know, I'm saying with a third race. Like with
Oh,
one of the American races,
American,
I
yes.
see
Yeah.
her popping into the top 10, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're
Same
saying.
with maybe Christian. I don't know.
Maybe if he does both of the American races, I think those will suit him really well.
Yeah.
But again, there are only 2 races with this new 4-race format. Like athletes who get like 4 top 15s can be in the top 10 over someone who gets 2 wins.
Yeah.
Just from quantity over quality weird situation. Okay. Let's finish this up, shall we?
Yes.
Men's race. Do you want to run through these top gamers that are lining up for this?
Yeah, I mean, first off, we've got El Hussein El Azoui, man. This guy is on fire this year. We knew he was like probably a favorite to win Kobe, kind of had a bad day, still got third, was second at China. He was second at Zagama behind Kilian in a very impressive race. And then I don't know if you watched the reel that Golden Trail put out of this battle, but El Hussein battled with Remy the entire day to finally win Mont Blanc Marathon. That reel that they put together was so hype of just the two of them constantly passing each other all day, putting in moves. Honestly, El Hussein not running Sierre Zinal, probably a favorite for me, but we'll keep going. Bart is going to be here. He's Polish, so I'm pretty stoked on his odds here. He was third at Zagama this year, which was a huge, huge performance for him after some struggles. Fourth at Kobe. This will be his third race of the season. I wonder if he's planning on going to the US. I feel like he usually does. But Bart's technically a local. I don't know where he's from in terms of like where Tatra is, but knowing Bart, he has probably been out on that course, scouting it out for quite some time. Roberto De Lorenzi, where do we even start with this kid? He was most recently fifth at Sierre Zinal. We'll talk about his kind of bigger performances of the year. Fifth at Sierre Zinal. He was first at European Championships up down, and I think he was fifth at the vertical. He was seventh place at Kobe, third at Mont Blanc Marathon. He won Acantilados del Norte this year and has been on the podium of, or no, he's been in the top 5 of 2 others and won Gorges du Tarn as well. This kid is like unstoppable. I keep thinking like at some point he's gonna have to get tired, but he must just be like constantly slamming energy drinks or something.
He's young. He's a kid. He's like,
He's
no.
young. Danny and I are like, wow, 30. What a time to be alive. You want to keep going?
Oh yeah. Next up we have Josefat Kiprotich. The dude, like we said, led out Sierre Zinal against the world-class field that was there this year. Still fourth in 2:31 at his debut. It looks like this is his only trail race. That's a pretty good trail race to put together, similar to Joyline.
Oh no, because he did really well at a couple WMRA
Oh,
races beforehand,
that's right. Yeah,
but
yeah.
only a few. So this is his first year.
Yeah, so it's really cool to see him continuing. I'm very curious because we've chatted with that team manager a couple times. Like, I'm curious if he is kind of mentoring them or like seeing what has worked well for other runners on the Run Together team, and if they are just like, hey, join the series, the last 4 races. They're all shorter. The US races are fast and more runnable than the European races. And so, yeah, I'm wondering if they're just like these late entry killers into the Golden Trail World Series. So
he's like, everybody else is going to be tired.
Yeah, I mean, genius.
So you might as well hop in.
And they're great timing between all of them because it's like you do
Yeah.
2 and then you get like a month off, 3 weeks off, and then you do
Yeah.
2. But they're all short. Like they're all under 3 hours for him. Anyways, be interesting to see how he does. Marcin Kubica, he's Polish. 6th at Kobe, 7th at Zagama, 13th at Mont Blanc Marathon. We also have Ezekiel Rudo, who was recently 10th at Sierre Zinal. He is on the Milimani runners. So if you didn't know, there's Team Run Together, and then there's Milimani runners. They're 2 different training groups out of Kenya. We also have Alex Garcia. He's a Spanish runner that represents Brooks. Recently 12th at Sierre Zinal. Frederick Thranchard, frequent on the Golden Trail World Series and the Sky Runner World Series. Very technically savvy, numerous podiums in Sky Runner and has been numerous top 10s at Golden Trail World Series. He was recently 21st at Sierre Zinal. And then right in front of him, we had Leonard Mitrica, who is Romania. I wonder if these Romanians are just like starting to roll up a little bit more and they're like, you know what? I wonder if they're just starting to join. But he was 20th at Sierre Zinal. And then Alan Santa Maria, Spanish Solomon runner, he was 22nd at Sierre Zinal.
Oh,
So
they're just hanging out.
yeah, so that you have the 20th finisher, 21st, and 22nd, and then, sprinkle in the top 10 finishers as well. And you have a very similar combo to the women's race.
Yeah. I mean, just in the top 10, you've got 4th place, 5th place, and 10th place returning. A little bit less than the women's top 10 returning, but still going to be super interesting to see how those athletes fare coming back the second weekend. Because I wasn't that beat up from Sierre Zinal because there's not that much downhill, but it still is like a huge effort.
Yeah, I'm also curious if this Marcin, I think probably it's pronounced Martin, because it says, I know that Martin is, I'm really sorry about, I'm going to butcher your last name, Reses Zotko. Yeah, that's not right. But he is actually like the race director of Tatra. So I don't think he would race. Like it would be a different.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a
Yeah.
different Marcin. Yeah.
Okay. Marcin. That's right.
Marcin, I would think. I don't know.
But it is really cool that like this race. So Mammoth Trail Fest, you have Tim Tolson, who's an athlete, but he's like an ultra athlete. I don't know if he's ever participated in a Golden Trail World Series race. But the guy that's running this race, he's been trying for years to get this to be on the Golden Trail World Series. It's been part of the like Polish in that area of Europe's Golden Trail National Series. And so just like kudos to him for, working it and finally getting on the Golden Trail World Series, and to have an athlete leading a race who's been a big participant in this series is really cool.
I've also heard from other athletes that are competing, like American athletes that I've been talking to, that he's been super helpful. Like any questions that anyone has, like about the course or about lodging or about how to get there and all this stuff, like he's answering those questions and helping them out. And I think that's really cool to just have that like one-on-one kind of connection with the race director.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So what do you think of this men's field before we wrap this up?
I mean, I think it's El Husein's race to lose, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like obviously the Kenyan athletes are really impressive on the Sierre Zinal course, but El Hussein, I mean, he won Mont Blanc Marathon against Remy, who's like a seasoned veteran on that course at this point. So I think it's probably still his race to lose.
Yeah, and he can do everything. I mean,
Yeah.
he can run fast too on flat terrain, and especially like with an athlete like him who is taking it to Kilian on technical downhills, like he, even if potentially he's a little off the lead on some of the more runnable climbs, that come over at roughly 7 miles or so, that we've heard that the top part is technical, he can put minutes on people in a mile and just like run away with it. But he, as he's proven time and time again, like he literally is a Swiss Army knife when it comes to the technical abilities, but also fast runnable abilities. I do also want to say, like, Bart, like he's run this course. He's from Poland. He's also a very good technical runner. Third at Zagama this year behind El Hussein. I just think like home field advantage. And he's a fast dude too. It's just being enough in the conversation after that first, like, I mean, those first 7 miles might take them like an hour and a half, hour 15.
Oh, I bet less,
like closer to an hour. Like
yeah.
Most of these guys are still in the conversation after the first hour of these races.
Yeah. And we have to remember that El Hussein ran that 10K that we kept talking about at the beginning of the year that Roberto ran really fast at. I can't remember what he ran, but he ran faster than Roberto. And I want to say it was like 28 minutes or something. So the dude is fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's his race to lose, but Josaphat might do the same thing. So it'll be cool to see how this men's field responds.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the Tatra SkyMarathon. As per usual, go to the Golden Trail World Series YouTube. They will have it live streamed. And this is the 6th race of the season. So maybe some point changes are going to start coming up. And then after this, all we have left are the American races. I heard you're going to be doing both of those, aren't you?
I think I am signed up for both of them. I might as well, right? Like we're going to do CCC. We're going to do Headlands 27K, Mammoth Trail Fest, New York Marathon, just all of it. I bet I can totally hang.
You totally could. I mean, if you, driving wise, you can get to Headlands and Mammoth both pretty like similar time, right?
I'll probably be at both of them.
Sick. Yes.
Definitely Mammoth Trail Fest. Not totally sure about Headlands yet, but I'll definitely
You got to
be
bring
down
your
at
little
Mammoth Trail
mini
Fest.
mic.
I know. I got to bring my mini mics to Chamonix too, but
Yeah.
I love those little guys. Thank you to Anna Gibson for sending us that course preview. Best of luck to her, as well as the rest of the Americans. You know, we love to see them out there. But this has been the SubHub podcast brought to you by Free Trail. Make sure you guys go subscribe to our YouTube, our SubHub Headlines newsletter, follow us on Instagram, and yeah, don't forget about our giveaway, our Poseidon bike giveaway that's still going on right now as well.
Yeah, definitely. Go on to our Instagram, _subhub_pod, and read the post to see how you can enter to win potentially not 1, but 2 bikes, and you could pick whatever kind of bike you want. So thanks again for listening. Hey all, Dani here, professional trail runner and co-host of the SubHub podcast. Last year, after getting sick before a big race, I started looking into natural ways to boost my immune system. So I embarked on a little research journey, trying out a few different options. And you know what? I found myself reaching for one set of products again and again. And that was Beekeepers Naturals. And guess what? They are now a partner of the pod. Founded with a mission to reinvent the medicine cabinet, Beekeepers Naturals offers an array of immune-boosting products free from harmful chemicals and artificial ingredients. Their hero ingredient is called propolis. It's nature's defender of the hive, packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. While my personal favorite product is the throat spray, they also have lozenges, syrups, and a bunch of great options for kids. So if you're looking for a natural option to boost your immune system, consider trying Beekeepers Naturals products. And be sure to use the code SUBHUB20 for 20% off of all of your orders at beekeepersnaturals.com.